AITAH for trying to move on? This is probably going to be a long post, but there's a lot of backstory. My partner, 39 meters, we're going to call him J, and I, 38F, have been together for 12 years. We have one kid together and we are step-parents to each other's kids from former relationships. Things have been rocky from the very beginning. I got pregnant after only being together about a year. I thought things were great, but when I was 7 months along I went out of town to visit my grandmother and he cheated on me within hours of me leaving. I found out right away when I got home. Being empathic is rough, and confronted him. He lied and it took me a few days to find the proof. Once I did, he was super apologetic, and because I was pregnant I made the worst decision of my life. I stayed. Doing so threw me into a depression so bad that I spent the next few years having to fight off suicidal thoughts and horribly low self-esteem. I also developed severe anxiety as a result and had a difficult birth because of the stress. Fast forward a few years. I've been struggling with my mental health and it's gotten so bad that it's affecting my physical health as well. I developed fibromyalgia and my immune system started attacking my body, mostly connective tissue like tendons, and made moving extremely painful. At this point, our daughter was old enough that I could start working again, so I tried to have a job. I couldn't hold one more than a few months before I had to leave because of my health. I usually needed a few months to overcome the results of the last attempt before I tried to work again, but I kept trying. While this was going on I was having problems finding a doctor who would listen to me about my medication not being effective. I kept getting told to give it 6 more months, for 6 years. And I'm a very non-confrontational person, so I just said okay. Jay was working this whole time and paying for everything while I took care of the house as best as I could. He kept reassuring me that it was okay, that I wasn't stable and that he would take care of us until I was able to help. Finally, I found a doctor who listened and I got on meds that really helped me. I'm a happy, productive, hopeful human being again. I've had a job for about 8 months, which I started right after the med change, and I have completed a college course and now have a veterinary assistant certification. I'm going on to get my full vet tech degree next. During the period that I was changing meds, Jay was getting a hernia repaired and they found a small tumor on his kidney. It turned out to be cancerous, but they found it very early and were able to remove the whole thing. No chemo, no big surgeries, just a day surgery and then scans every 6 months. I stood by him every step of the way, even when he was yelling at me for crying about it. I'm the one with cancer, why are you crying? After he got the all clear, he started acting strange. Being distant, keeping his phone closer to him than usual, being super irritable, etc. Finally, he blew up and said that he didn't love me, hadn't loved me in years, had been looking at other women, and wanted me and the kids to leave. I told him that I thought he was having a trauma reaction and that we needed to talk about it more and try and work it out. He agreed and proceeded to not do anything different at all for the next 6 months. Occasionally he would want to have sex, and so he would be nice that day, and say that we were going to work on it, but then the next day he would flip his switch again, and it would be right back to I want you gone. After a few times of getting my heart jerked around this way I made the decision that I didn't want to try anymore. My heart is so broken that there's nothing to salvage. So I told him that I'm leaving. Naturally, as soon as I do this he starts backtracking and saying that he's sorry that he wasn't trying and that he'll do better. At this point I don't want his effort anymore. I tried very hard for 6 months while I was in college, taking care of 2 kids, and during which time I lost my dad to cancer. Jay didn't show any effort whatsoever unless he wanted something, and any time I mentioned that I wasn't seeing any effort from him all I got back was hostility. Because of our living situation and finances we are stuck in the same house still. I will be leaving in a few weeks to move in with my mom, but that is 7 hours away from me, so it requires some financial planning. While we are still living together we have agreed to stay civil and continue to co-parent together. I thought that the situation was working okay until I started talking to someone, as a friend, and Jay started getting jealous. There's nothing going on between me and this guy. He lives in the town that I'm moving to. He's literally 7 hours away from me. There is no way for anything to happen, and even if there was, Jay didn't want me. He pushed me away, I didn't leave him. But I am a very soft-hearted person, and I'm wondering if maybe I'm actually the a-hole of the situation. Please advise.